Hi, Millie.
Hello, Marylen. So good to finally meet up with you online.
Yes, it's my pleasure to have you. In fact, I have known you for quite some time already since you started your business back how many years ago? Like when you were just starting, I've actually that's where I have actually met you, probably in 2011
It's
or
more than 10 years
2012.
ago. Crazy, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yeah. So that's where I get to know you, and we've been friends in Facebook as well for quite some time. And I really appreciate all the things that you do, especially for women entrepreneurs. To support us, and also the inspiration and the YouTube channel that you have created. Also, it's really amazing to, we help each other and empower each other, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be on your show as well. You're doing amazing things in this world. So, really appreciate and very honored to be on your show today.
Please do share with us your leadership experiences, if you have like influencers that you'd like to share with us, and probably a leadership style that you have inclination or favoritism for.
Okay, so I think for me, I learned and picked up leadership style, leadership skills from all around me. And I'm sure it's probably for you as well. So at a younger age, I picked up a lot of these skills from growing up from my parents. And I
Mhm.
think that has really made me who I am today. I think the environment that we grew up kind of shaped us in a way that I am, because of my parents. We're very grounded people. We are very honest people and have great work ethic. And
Mhm.
also my grandparents, I want to share a story. I think that could be quite an inspiring story for your audience as well.
Yes.
Is my grandfather, when he was a teenager, he grew up in a time that it was very uncertain. It was during the World War I time. He was in China. So literally war was coming, and he walked barefoot from China, Guangdong, all the way to Hong Kong in search of a new life, and literally had nothing. Just walked for days and days trying to cross the border, go to Hong Kong, and that's where he settled down with nothing. And from there on, what he found was trying to figure out how to make things work in a place that he hardly had any money. Eventually, he saw opportunities, right? As leader, you watch out, you see opportunities. And he found that there are people that have old books that lie around that don't want anymore. He started to collect old books from all over the place. And then on the evening and on the weekend, he would go under a bridge or in a tunnel to
Mhm.
set it out on the street and just sell these books. That's how he
Mhm.
got started. Eventually, he sold more and more books, and more books turned into the first pot of gold. He eventually rolled that into multiple businesses, like have his own wine store, has his own supermarket, has his own restaurant, and it grew. And he became a true community leader. He was holding positions, president, advisory in many local community, and he also ended up donating multiple schools in China, including a kindergarten that was named after my grandmother. So I think leadership is how we lead ourselves. Well, we'll go more on that in future next few questions. But my point is, we learn leadership from all around us. It could be your parents, it could be your grandparents. In my case, also from my children. I think we learn a whole lot from our children as well. I have two girls. Angeline, she's 12. Alicia just turned 9. I'm sure that you agree that we learn a lot from our children. They sometimes test our patience, but in a way we learn how we can motivate our kids, make them, inspire them to do great things in the world. So that's part of it too, but of course it's all around us. So that means from your business partner, maybe in the corporate world, your coworkers, your associates, from your boss, maybe in your corporate world. And also in my case, because I'm a business coach, funny enough, I also learned a whole lot from students and mentees, because they all come from all walks of life, all ages. Some are older than me, some are younger than me, and men and women as well. And they all come from different industries as well. So a lot of times as we dive into looking into their business, what is going on in their business, kind of I'm walking their life with them. So I learned a whole lot from that experience as well. So, but of course, we also learn from mentors and books and courses that we take. I think learning is such an important thing in this day and age, to stay relevant, and to continue to grow. And if you want, I always believe that learning, continuous learning, is a non-negotiable mindset if you really try to want to live an extraordinary life. So yeah, so that's kind of all around, right? All these people around us, we can all learn from them one way or the other.
Yes, very true. I really appreciate you sharing your story and your grandfather's story. And that's again a reminder for every one of us, especially for us parents, right? That we are a role model to others, especially our children or potentially our grandchildren in the future, right? Where they would learn from like how we actually move the challenges in our life into opportunities, like what your grandfather has done in the past, from nothing to being able to build several businesses and being a community leader eventually, and because he took all those opportunities and he led himself and eventually others, right, through the business and the communities he was in. So I really appreciate that story. I love it. And
Thank you.
also your and a reminder as well that we have to take every opportunity that we can learn from every person that we meet or we get to in touch with, right? So like what you've said, you're learning from children, and I guess I could even like probably say that I learned a lot on leadership because of my children as well.
Yeah.
Imagine having a 2-year-old, 5-year-old, and a teenager all at the same time while building my business.
Wow,
And
whole range.
yeah, all the whole range. I mean, those are the like I would say the critical part of being a mother, right? All
Yeah,
the critical stages of motherhood or of the children as well, right? So,
yeah,
and I love that you've shared like continuous learning is non-negotiable, and I totally agree with you on this because that's the only way for us to stay relevant and continue to not only be adaptable and lead ourselves and others, but also for us to like, okay, we stay relevant, we stay adaptable through learning. That's the only way to go. Like what you said,
yeah.
it's
The only
non-negotiable.
way to go. Yeah, in fact.
Exactly. Yeah. So having shared your experience, your parents, grandparents as your role model, as well as the people that you have surrounded yourself with, what is leadership for you?
That's a great question. So for me, leadership is the skills to inspire, empower, encourage, uplift, and challenge individuals such that they will grow. And this growth will last. If you're a great leader, this growth will last even in your absence.
Mm-hmm.
So, what you're doing, that change that you create, is not just on the surface. If you're a great leader, the change that you create is deeply rooted from the inside, that they feel better as a person, that they believe in themselves more, that they truly want to make changes in this world because they want to make this change. It's not like you force it upon them, because that's the key difference between someone who's just, say, managing, right, versus someone who's leading. It's
True.
not come from a dictatorship sort of perspective, but rather you ignited something that is inside of them, that they feel better, they believe in themselves, and
Yeah.
they want to grow and make this impact that they try to make in this world. So that is why I believe leadership is so fundamental in everything, not just in the corporate world, not just in the business world or in the community, but also as an individual ourselves. How can we lead ourselves better? Because let's face it, sometimes we say changing the world, right? A lot of people say changing the world.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you change the world? It actually comes back down to being able to lead yourself first. If you're focusing on leading yourself first, then you can influence the people around you. And in fact, that influence will continue to spread on like a fire. So that is my leadership. That is my definition of leadership. Is how you create that change inside of someone else, and that they become a better person, a better version of themselves, and continue on in your absence.
Wow, that's really beautiful. I really hope I got everything there. But as I summarize it, I believe what you've said is leadership is actually a skill to uplift, empower, and inspire others to create change and for the better, right?
Yeah, lasting change,
La-
possibly.
So I just wonder, how would you define or describe the next normal?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I don't know 100% what that next new normal is. I mean, who would have predicted more than 2 years ago, sort of new normal is the new normal that we have today, right? Suddenly, pandemic hits and travel stopped. People were forced to distance from each other, no longer being to be in person in a community. So changes happen. So and it always comes, right? Changes is the constant. So now we live in a slightly different world, and who know what the next new normal would be, right? But if I have to guess, in today, right, I would say we see the newer normal as in more people working remotely from home. People continue to thrive, to be need to be online, need to be more in tune with technology, what's going on. And there's also an increase, just because people are so much more online, is also the importance of being more comfortable with technology and personal branding and social media, so that you can establish your influence that could create that more impact, the
Mhm.
leadership in the world. But one thing is for sure, that change is the new constant. Change is a new constant. So as a leader, right, we need to be, number one, more aware of what is going on, the changes that's happening in the world.
Mhm.
Number two, we need to be more adaptable, because changes is going to happen. And if you still staying in the mentality 20 years ago to 10 years ago, you're not going to make it. Let's be honest, right? So we need to be more adaptable. And number three, going back to an earlier point that we made, we need to continue to learn new skills. And obviously, we are on the topic of leadership. That is important. I also think that soft skill, like leadership skill, like a communication skill, even speaking and influencing skills are important. And on the other hand, skills like that help with your business, like technology, like sales skill, like marketing, digital marketing skills. These are all important skill sets that you can, programming skill, right? These are skills that are going to be increasingly more important, the way I see it. But of course, at the end of the day, no one have a crystal ball. So go back to the same rule: be more aware, be more adaptable, and continue to learn. So that's the way to adapt to the new normal, whatever that new normal happens to be.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you defining or describing as the next normal as if you have a magic ball in front of you.
Yeah.
So, again, that's all about being able to work, not only working from home, but I guess from anywhere you want, that flexibility that we have
Yeah.
realized it's possible. But I remembered, like, when I actually make mention of these in the past, before the pandemic, people would like see you like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
they somehow look at you like lowly, or in a manner where, like, oh, you're working from home, that kind of thing. But after the pandemic, when I have similar conversation that, oh, I've been working from home for the last 7 years, and even the response has changed as well, right? Wow,
Yeah.
been prepared for the pandemic,
Yeah. You're like the pioneer. You're like the cool
you're
kid now.
exactly, I'm the cool kid now. From your experience, both as a corporate leader and working with leaders right now, what would you say would be the top three problems that they normally face?
Yeah. The top three problems that I normally see is, number one, the lack of strategy. Is if they don't know where they're going, then what is the next step? They don't have that clarity of the strategy. Then
Mhm.
how can they lead the company and the corporation and the team towards the direction?
Mhm.
So needing to have that clarity, the vision and the clarity and the strategy is number one, right? That's
Mhm.
number one. The number two thing is the execution. So when it comes to having a strategy, then how do you make that into a reality? How do you, that doing, the actual doing, the actions? What are the sort of actions that you take to execute to make things happen? So that it would include, what kind of systems you put in place, what kind
Mm-hmm.
of best practices do you have, what kind of guideline, processes, your SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? How do you scale your business when it comes point? So all of these things is part of execution, the day-to-day and everything else, that's the execution, which makes, from a dream to the reality is execution. And of course
Mm-hmm.
the people involved, because we all know it's not easy to manage people sometimes. So number three, that's why I said strategy, execution, but then it's the people, because the truth is we don't build business, we build people to build our business, right? So
True.
managing people is the third most common problems corporations and companies have. And that would involve, how do you hire the right people? How do you get rid of the wrong people? How do you onboard your employees? How do you instill that culture, you know, the guideline, so that when they come on board, they get to know what the culture is? Because having all the strategies, all this is great, but you cannot micromanage, right? Like we said earlier, you need to have that culture. The culture is a framework. If they understand the company culture, then they can make decision based on, okay, I'm part of this corporation, I'm part of this company. What sort of things this company of this culture would want to do, and which sort of things that you don't want to do, right? So the culture is very important when it comes to managing people, not just the micromanaging. More importantly, the culture. And how do you train people and groom people to help them to get in a company and continue to grow the company? Because we all know human capital can be expensive. If you have to always hire and train people from scratch, that's a lot of resources. So you really want to make sure that people are happy in the surrounding and continue to feel the fulfillment and continue to feel the growth. So that's managing people. That is why I think the three most important top problems is, the lack of strategy, the execution, and the managing of people. Yep. So those are the three main things.
I really love how you made it sound so simple by just identifying all these three: lack of strategy, execution, and people. But I really appreciate that, you've actually defined and described this it for us in such a way, like, yes, we understand like what she means about on that. But at the same time, we all know that how important it is to train and groom your people or human capital, because at the end of the day, you like what you've mentioned, human capital can be very expensive, right?
Yeah.
from
Yep.
from recruitment to like keeping them or retaining them and finding the right people, and
Yeah.
making sure that they are happy within the organization, like what you said. So
Yep.
yeah,
Very
I think
important.
it's really a good reminder for our leaders or for our audience to please do pay attention on training and
Totally.
developing your people. This is an investment. It's not really in any way a cost, right? Like I think
Totally
one,
agree with you.
yeah, and I think one of the worries that they have, what if these people is um after the training they move to another organization?
What if?
What
You don't
if
know everything that is what if is going to happen in the world, right?
exactly?
you
So
can't you can't say, okay, this person might one day leaves, then you don't groom. Then what about the 1 year, 5 year, 10 year that that person stay in your company? And the truth is, if you give them the right training, if you groom them, they feel they're growing with the company, they'll be much more committed to your company. That is the
exactly.
truth.
True, true. And that's the reason why training is an investment, because the commitment, the productivity, the performance, even the profitability then shows up as a
Yeah.
like domino effect on training and developing your people, right? So I mean, like we already like had very good conversation about these top three problems, and for
Yeah.
sure we don't want to leave them with all these problems, but we wanted to, again, crisis is both problem and opportunity, depending on where you're coming from. So the next
Yeah.
question then is, what are the important leadership capabilities or skills um, or skills that leaders must have in the next normal to be able to continue to lead effectively?
I think for me, right, the number one most important thing to have
Mm-hmm.
is actually to continue to grow your mind. It's the ability to expand your context. Because let's face it, we can talk about training skills, we can talk about capability all day long, but it is sort of like if you have a cup. The skill sets and the training and the skill set and the capability is like water you're trying to pour into a cup. But
Mm-hmm.
how much water that you can actually hold depend on how big of a cup you have. So
Exactly.
in order for you to really absorb more of the skill sets, be more relevant, learn all these things, you have to have a bigger cup. You have to expand the context of your mind, your brain. Tony Robbins always said is 20% about the skill sets, but 80% of your mindset. So as
True.
much as we train ourselves on our capability, our skills and knowledge, all these things, what to do, it is more important that we train our mindset. They always said the best leaders, we don't just have a to-do list. Everybody has a to-do list. But the
Mm-hmm.
great leaders have a to be list. Who do you want to become? Who are you growing to become? Because if you become that bigger person, that better person, then you can lead better and you see better. And that is how you can have the real impact for your team and your organization. So the number one most important thing is actually work on your mind. There are trainings, of course, to work on your mind, but that is the most important. It is, like I said, the context, the to be list rather than the to do list. And when that is growing, everything else becomes easy because you just literally have this bigger cup. You can pour water inside, you can pour whatever skills and capability you want to learn inside, right? If you have that coupled with eagerness to continue to learn, then I think you're at a very good place.
Yes, thank you. And is there anything more other than growing your mindset as skills and capabilities that you would recommend them to like look into in order to be able to continue to thrive and lead effectively?
Yeah, so I mentioned slightly earlier in one of the answers, I said some of the skills that
Mm-hmm.
could be, of course, the softer skill is leadership skill, communication skill. I think speaking skill and the ability to influence is great. Also, on the more technical skills, that would be to do with technology, say the programming, the digital marketing, and also relevancy in the ability to convince, like sales skills, closing skill, copywriting skill, if you want to do online business. So
Mm-hmm.
these are very important skill sets. But I think all of that comes down to, most importantly, having the right mindset. Everything else should be much more easy.
And I really love how you actually like focus around the mindset, because whenever like especially very true in the corporate world where they don't really like talk so much around mindset and the importance of it. I actually started my business providing very technical niche program in the oil and gas industry, but then I've always like I've seen like this is not enough, this is not enough. So despite that people have very good technical backgrounds or capability, but if you don't know how to manage people, if you don't know how to deal with people, it's gonna be difficult as well. Or if you are not ready mindset wise, like what you said, if you have a small cup, right,
Yeah.
and pour in like all those skills and the rest of the things, it will not, it never gonna make it, right? And
Yeah, it's not gonna
you
work.
are ready, right? It's not gonna
Yeah.
work till you have like a big cup that
Yeah.
can feel more, um that you can feel more, right? So again, it's like whenever I have that conversation, it's kind of like a difficult conversation as well when you speak with corporate clients as well. Focusing around leadership mindset, your mindset, and all those stuff. Because at the end of the day, um, if you have the right mindset, if the team has the right mindset, it's easier for you to like upskill them, reskill them.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
provide them with the rest of the skills like what you've
Yeah.
mentioned around leadership skills, especially on the communications part,
Yeah.
and the technology skills and all the other skills that we both agree that are necessary for not only entrepreneurs but also for other leaders in the corporate world around digital marketing, knowing how to make use of social media as well. And I
Yeah.
think
Very important.
so.
Yeah.
What do you believe? I mean, we've been talking a lot on the importance of continuous learning as a leader, as well as the leadership skills and how you can actually bring it to transformation. I know this is like quite a big question. I get this a lot on what do you believe is the role of learning, leadership, and transformation in thriving in the next normal. So I guess this is like an invitation for you to summarize or highlight what they believe will be like important or how this can be integrated.
Learning is critical. It is everything. Like I'm like I live and breathe learning. I think it's so important. And I think a lot of times when we hear people say to take advantage of an opportunity, you have to be at the right place at the right time. But the truth is that is only half of the equation. You need to be at the right place at the right time, and you have to be the right person.
Yes.
That means if you are not ready, if you're not groomed, if you don't learn the skills or be the person that needs to be able to take of advantage of that opportunity,
Mhm.
either you see it but you're not able to grab the opportunity, or you don't even see it because it's not open to you.
True.
So if you really want to become a greater leader, have more opportunities in your life, and make bigger impact in the world, learning is, like I said in the first few minutes, I said it's non-negotiable, especially with the world changing so fast. And who knows what the next normal is. We constantly have to adapt and learn new things. And if you don't grow, you die because your competitor is going to outgrow you. In a way, this is the reality of business, right? You're not just yourself, but you are looking at what's going on around you. People who are willing to learn more, takes action more,
True.
always win. Yeah.
Exactly. It's all about learning and taking action, right? Because sometimes some people like, oh, I remember this usual comment I get like, oh, we've provided them a lot of trainings and all those stuff, but it never worked. Or I remembered someone who mentioned me about neurolinguistic programming. He said like, it doesn't work. Like you made mention about Tony Robbins earlier, right? And he's a big guy on NLP, and then like someone told me that NLP doesn't work, and it's like I was really like shocked in that comment. Because I
Yeah.
believe, I mean, like part of mindset, or a very big part of having the right mindset, is also working on our subconscious level, right? On
Yeah.
which is very NLP based, right, in terms of study. So it's like, oh, it's a very interesting comment. And again, like learning, despite that learning is very important, but putting it into action as well is what makes it like uh really give us like the result that we want,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's really having that balance between learning and taking that into action.
But going
So
back to the comment you just made, I want to say something. The
okay.
the person who said that NLP doesn't work,
Uh-huh.
he is also not wrong, because maybe it didn't work on him.
Uh-huh.
You see, none of the things, when we hear something, it is never just what the other person say. It
Mm-hmm.
is always about the context, what we hear, because you
Mm-hmm.
can only understand and take what you feel that it connects with you. That is why when people attend seminars, say if
Mm-hmm.
you've been to seminars that have thousands of people, they all literally heard the same thing. But if you check back, a few months down the road, a year down the road, people will have all different sort of results. Some people would do amazing, and some people would just have done nothing. And that has a lot to do with that individual. What is the context? Because literally, there are noises and information out there all the time. And your
True.
brain can only take the pieces of information that it found relevant to you. Just like the law of attraction. You know, if you're thinking of buying, a red Mercedes, whatever, then all of a sudden you see maybe a red Mercedes on the street. It's kind of like that, right? Or maybe not red, but black, whatever. You see, my point is
Yes.
you only see what you want to see. You only hear what you want to hear. The person who said whatever training doesn't work, then the training is not going to work on them. It's all in the context. That is why I said in the previous, question, your context, your cup is everything. So the person is not wrong. It's just that if he wants to fly, he has to upgrade his cup.
Yeah, true. And then actually that's for a whole team that they have provided. So but again, I also agree with you. It's all about the context and how you connect the program as well. And that's the reason why I've been very blessed that I have really good and passionate partners that I work with in terms of the delivery, that they are willing to co-create, customize and contextualize it according to the needs of the customers. Again, like what you've said, it's all about the contextualizing. How will it be applicable to us, or
Yeah,
how can it be understood by us in such a way that we can see it, we can hear it, like what
yeah,
you've shared. So again, it's really a good reminder for everyone that yeah, it's really like working on your mindset for you to be able to see it. And I guess that's also the reason why I responded like that, because like huh? I was
yeah,
surprised because I've been like learning from several NLP or hearing from Tony Robbins and how he has helped like a lot of
yeah. Millions of people.
leaders and all those stuff around that. And it's like that's what he said, like okay. So again, like what you mentioned, it's he's probably right because of the part where it wasn't contextualized, or he's not ready, or their team is not ready to take that or
Yeah,
to receive that
yeah,
information. So thank you
yeah.
for that reminder as well for me.
You're welcome. It's not you. It's not you. Obviously, it's working on someone. Millions of people.
Okay, so this is a very interesting question, which I again very open. I would say the last two questions very open, and my Miss Universe questions. So, if you have a magic wand and can use it, what will you do with it?
I'm gonna disappoint you. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be Miss Universe or Miss whatever. I don't know if some of your interviewees said that. That's pretty cool though. I have to say. So when I see this question, I thought of a conversation that my daughters and I had
Mm-hmm,
recently. So we are like superhero movie fans. We
wow.
love watching the Marvel movies, like
Mm-hmm,
the Iron Man, the Captain America, the Spider-Man, and the Thor.
mm-hmm,
So after this particular movie that we saw, my daughters and I were talking about, if you have this amazing superpower that you have, so similar to the magic wand question,
mm-hmm,
what sort of
mm-hmm.
superpower would you like to have? And I thought about it for a while, and I don't know if you know the Marvel character, but it would be
Yes.
so cool to be Scarlet Witch.
Mhm. Wow.
Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch. What is so cool about her, I think, is of course she's a woman, but not only that, but she can read mind. You know, and she can control mind. She can read mind. She understands how people mindset works. But also she has this power. She go woo, and then she can move things around the room and woo woo woo. That is so cool. So I thought, oh, okay. Of all the superheroes, the Marvel heroes, my daughters and I, thought that Scarlet Witch is probably one of the most powerful as well, and we like her.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to your question, obviously I'm not going to be Scarlet Witch, but I think if we have the ability to read people, to understand people, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that helps you to understand and motivate people, in a way that leadership goes back to our topic of leadership, then you can connect and knows how to what button to press, and how you can actually help them to believe in themselves and make that, you know, lasting change that we're talking about. So that's one thing. And then of course the moving things part, with Scarlet Witch, I don't know about that, but I'm thinking if there's a way to make things move more efficiently, that would be really cool too as a leader. So yeah, so it's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, Scarlet Witch power.
That's really amazing, and I believe like with the things that you have been doing, um, be, ever since like as a leader and as an entrepreneur, that's also like some of the things that you have, I mean, a superpower that you have already,
Oh,
despite
oh,
without the magic wand, right? Being able
oh.
to not really control but probably read more of the mind of others to understand how to motivate them and again move around things based on like your capacity, right?
Yeah,
In improving in efficiency
yeah,
for
exactly.
businesses and probably even lives, right?
Yep, 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 exactly.
So yeah, I mean, this is a superpower that you have. I guess you summarize it for us. Having that power to not necessarily control, but probably
Not so much control, but like read mind and
yeah,
to use that to
mind.
understand people, motivate them. Yeah.
Yes, how they are motivated. I believe that's that's part of the things that you do for your customers, for your clients, and for the people that you work with, right, in general. So thank you so much for that, and I'm glad even without the magic wand you have that power.
Thank you, Marylen.
Isn't that amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that leads me to my last question, which is, if you were to ask yourself a question, another very open question, that you can best answer, what would it be? What question would that be? And since you can best answer it, please do answer it for us.
That's a great question. And I thought about it for a little bit, and I thought, okay, if that the question would be for me
Mm-hmm,
is, who do I want to become
mm-hmm,
and what brings meaning to my life? Who do I want to become and what brings meaning to me, to my life? Because I think that is, for me, that is the core of what I do. That brings, you see, I feel that if I don't figure this out, I don't know who do I want to become and what brings meaning to my life. I feel like I'm just kind of burning the days, kind of just existing. But if I figure out who I want to become and what brings meaning to my life, then
mm-hmm,
every day I'm working towards something really beautiful, something that would drive me from the inside out, that motivates me towards something that I want. In fact, that ties back into a YouTube video that I just released last week, not this morning, but last week. The topic was feeling behind in life, do this. But actually, the video goes a lot deeper than that. It goes back to a definition of success, because a lot of people in life strive for success. But one of the best definitions I've ever heard in my life about what is success is actually from Earl Nightingale. And Earl Nightingale says, according to his definition of success, which I love, is
mm-hmm,
success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. That means if you figure out what is that worthy goal and ideal for you, and you only, not what your parents said, not what your friends said, what society said, or social media said, your success is, you figure out what is your worthy goal and or ideal, and you're taking progressive, meaning small steps each
mm-hmm,
day towards realizing that worthy goal or ideal, then you are successful in your own right. So whether you are, whatever position you are in the corporate world, whatever role you're playing in your family and the society, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, if your worthy goal and ideal is to raise children well and be able to attend their school events, If you do steps to do that, then you are successful in your own right, not measured by anyone else measuring stick and
Mm-hmm.
benchmark. So I think going back to the question I asked myself, who do I want to become and what brings meaning to my life ties back to this very important question. To have that meaning, to really have a success, then you need to go back to who do you want to become? What is that worthy goal and ideal for you? What brings meaning to your life? And don't be worried about, all this flashy thing on social media. We say social media is important, but you have to know you. You have to know you. Don't let the internet rush you. You have to know you, who you are and what you want. So I always say, getting to know who that is, what that meaning is, and then you dream big, you start small, and you act now. So this is what my answer with that would be for that question.
Wow, that's really beautiful as you are.
Oh,
So, and again, it's a lot to do with the inner game, right? When
yes,
you mention around mindset, like, and that great leaders actually is really so busy doing their B list, right?
yeah.
Rather than, just looking at
To
the
be
surface.
list, not just the
Yeah,
to do list.
to-do list. Yeah, rather than doing to-do list, they look into the B list.
Yep,
um, and this is like, a very good question that everyone should ask themselves on a daily basis, right? It's just basically, if we have to put this in one word, it's really like, why. Starting from your why, right?
yep,
What's your purpose in life? What
yep,
gives meaning to your life? Who you want to become, right?
yep,
If we just ask these questions on a daily basis to ourselves, because it's not really about, I mean, how Earl Nightingale defines success is really what it is. But I've actually remembered reading this article around success. What is between success and satisfaction as well.
mm,
So it's really like more of looking forward to have your self satisfaction, which is generally, because he said that success is actually usually defined by other people, while
mm,
fulfillment or satisfaction is defined by you, right?
mm,
And that's the good thing as well, right? Because for each and every one of us, success might be different, right?
mm.
Might look different, right?
Very much
Depending
different.
on our superpowers, depending on our role or purpose in life. So it's amazing that, we can all be successful all at the same time in life, or in anything you do. Everyone can actually win. Isn't that amazing, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to win so that
Someone has to
um
lose so that you
yeah,
can win.
no one has to lose so that you can win. Everyone
Exactly.
can win, right? So I really appreciate this conversation.
Thank you
Before
so much.
Yeah, before we end this interview, is there any other message that you'd like to share with our audience?
If I have to share one mantra, it goes
Mm-hmm.
back to the same mantra that I always share at
Mm-hmm.
every end of my YouTube video
Mm-hmm.
is dream big, start small, and act now. Yeah,
Wow.
that would be the message.
Wow, thank you for that reminder for everyone to dream big, start small, and act now. Because what we have is just our
Just
present.
now.
It's
Yes,
just now, right? So thank you
totally.
for that reminder. And I really appreciate this meaningful conversation. Very insightful, very meaningful. And I really love how you've reminded us of how we should play our inner game to the best of our ability, right? So thank you so much, Millie, for
Thank you
taking
so much,
time to have
Marilyn.
this conversation. And of course,
Appreciate
thank you.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, and thank you everyone for watching us, and do join us in this journey to create more opportunities for every one of us, right? To make this world a better place to live in, because we can do it, right?
Yes.
So,
Do
yes,
come visit me on my website or my YouTube
yes.
channel.
Yes, please add in the I will be tagging you in this live session, and please do put in like how we get in touch with you as well, or the
Say
YouTube
hello to
channel,
me.
right? Yeah, so and yeah, thank you so much. And again, remember that even the richest investors in the world would say that investing in yourself is the best investment you can ever make in your life. And with that, we would like to leave you with this quote from Dolly Parton that if your action create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank
Love
you,
it.
Millie. Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Have a good day and stay safe, everyone. See you again next week. Bye
Bye
for now.
bye.